Do you want double-digit kills? Well, that's great, because as you can see on this leaderboard here, that's 12 kills in the very first game that I tried this build. With this build, it's hard to not get kills. And if you're feeling generous, you can hand out all the free Smackify premium subscriptions you want to everybody you go against. We'll end up seeing more of the ground than of you. Enough of all this, though. Let's get right into the build. And here we are at my personal favorite SMG. This is the underrated, misunderstood MP7. Most people don't want to use it because it's got 40 rounds in the mag, but its base damage and fire rate are pretty monstrous in this class. And if you can land your shots, nobody's walking away from a gunfight with you. What you want to try and get is the 10% damage to targets out of cover. Then what you want for the talent is Sadist. It amplifies weapon damage by 20% to any bleeding enemy that you shoot. This could be done with any SMG. It's just important that it has Sadist and damage to targets out of cover. This exotic chest piece, the Ridgeway's Pride, is where the magic happens. This is where the bleed comes from. So because of the talent Bleeding Edge, that means everybody we shoot within that 15 meters now bleeds. Not only this, but when people are bleeding within that 15 meters, it gives you additional armor regeneration to help you out. For one enemy, it's 3%. For two enemies, it's 6%. For three enemies, it's 12%. For 4, it's 24%. And for 5, it's a monstrous 48% armor a second. So this talent is great because you could run it as a damage build, like I have it set up where everything's red with critical hit chance and critical hit damage, or you could run it as a all blue regen build. Either way, this chest piece is incredible for those reasons. Next up, we have 3-piece Electrique. This just so happens to be on the mask, the knee pads, and the holster. If you want a DPS build like mine, you want to roll it all red and make sure it's got critical hit chance and critical hit damage on every piece. The reason for picking this brand is because with one piece, you get 10% status effects. With 2 pieces, you get 20% shock resistance. That'll help out with anybody using the St. Elmo's engine. And for 3 pieces, you get 30% extra SMG damage. Let's not forget you're already amplifying it by 20% from the Sadist. Your 3-piece can take up any slots, with exception to the chest piece because it's an exotic. Now we have a 2-piece set, Walker Harris. These 2 pieces are chosen because it offers up 2 multiplicative stats. The first one is weapon damage at 5%. The other one is 5% damage to armor. This has been tested against the Contractor's gloves, but the Walker Harris does more damage and gives more crit chance. Granted, it only does more damage because of the crit chance. Both pieces are rolled to critical hit chance and damage, but the backpack unfortunately does have headshot damage on it. That's okay for this build, since you'll see later we have maxed out crit chance. If you stack as much critical hit chance and critical hit damage as possible, as well as damage to targets out of cover and damage to armor, there's nobody who's going to be able to stand in front of you. How would you feel being one of these guys that has over 1 million armor and is still getting destroyed in 1 second? Let's take a closer look at this Walker Harris backpack. So as I said before, with the DPS build, you always want to go for the critical hit chance and the critical hit damage. In this case, I was unfortunate and the backpack had headshot damage on it instead. That's okay, because I already have maxed out crit chance. What's really important about this backpack is the talent Wicked. Wicked makes it so anytime you apply a status effect, you get an 18% damage bonus for 20 seconds. That's pretty crazy because all your damage adds up to be insane. You have all these damage bonuses from your gear, so that's going to be flying down range at 1,000 rounds per minute. Here are the stats for the build. As you can see, we have maxed out crit chance, 160% critical hit damage, 80% headshot damage, and then 5% damage to armor, but let's not forget about that 10% damage to targets out of cover. The best specialization for this is Demolitionist, and I'll tell you why. It's because of the 3 talents you get with it. The first is Crisis Response. When your armor is depleted, it refills your magazine. The next is Braced for Impact. This makes it so you can ignore a grenade every 60 seconds. Finally, the Demolitionist Tactical Link. The Demolitionist link gives everybody in your group 5% damage to targets out of cover. One more thing before everybody leaves the video. If you wouldn't mind, please let me know down in the comments below what I could do to make the videos better for you. A career on YouTube would be nice, but my real goal is to just make content for everybody to enjoy and to keep life in the Division. So again, many thanks, subscribe for more, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye!